Good evening, everyone. If you can hear my TV on in the background, let me know. I don't think you can. But happy Tuesday, happy March. So we have a new book starting this month. Voting was open over the weekend, and the winner ended up being Insanity by one whole vote. So a good, exciting race there. It's kind of the book I was rooting for, one of my favorites, so rather talk about that. But yeah, so for Tuesday Booze Day, tonight I'm drinking water. I'm getting over the end of a cold here, and I'm going to pop some NyQuil after this. So probably shouldn't be mixing that with any alcohol tonight. But I will be back in action next week. But yeah, if you are drinking something right now, definitely share in the comments. Let me know. Say hi. I hope you're drinking something more exciting than water. Devin, I'm looking at you. You're always drinking water. Let's hear something more exciting this time. I'm getting interrupted.
Good night, Daddy.
Oh, good night. All right, everyone's in bed so we can party. But yeah, so today just did some writing for Wealth of Time 5, some editing on Followed East. I'm just trying to stay on schedule for getting both of those out this spring. So far, so good. But yeah, so to kind of kick things off, I do want to announce the winners for February. If you recall, we're doing contests every month now for basically whoever is more active within the group. So announcing our winners for February, first place, Rianne Fletcher, $5 Amazon gift card coming your way. Second place is Nancy Fran. You'll have a free ebook. And then third place, You Guys Let My Wife Win. I don't know. Come on, you got to do better than that. She also wins a free ebook, even though she has all mine. She says she's going to gift it to someone. So I guess someone else will be seeing that free ebook later on. So yeah, congrats to you three. Remember, the points are just tallied by commenting on these videos and just both in the group in general. So definitely feel free to drop your comments. Devin already has 2 here tonight, so she's in the lead for the early start here in March. So yeah, so jumping in though to our topic, today's insanity. I'm going to be just really doing the high-level overview. So same structure as last month. Today will be a general overview. Next week we'll discuss characters. Week after will be scenes. And final week of the month will be discussing different settings within the novel. So to start, Insanity was my second book overall. My follow-up to Followed Home, but not its sequel. It's book 1 of its own series, the Insanity series, released on November 14th, 2017. So it'll be 3 years this fall that it's been out. So what I like to do here is just read the blurb. Let me get that pulled up. Now this blurb I have worked to death. So something us authors do is really work on our blurbs, because that is our, it's our selling pitch. You get people to land on your page on Amazon. First thing they go to is the blurb, and that's where you got to grab them. So, blurb for Insanity. Jeremy Heston feels on top of the world. As a recent college graduate with a sturdy job and loving relationship, his future is bright with promise, until a series of unfortunate circumstances plunge him into a downward spiral. In that moment of emotional vulnerability, his professor convinces him to undertake an intensive study into the depths of mental illness as part of his master's program. There, in the midst of his dark research, demented thoughts begin to twist Jeremy's mind. He can feel his control slipping, the life he once knew crumbling around him. Yet, he fears he's come too far to give up on his potentially lethal experiment. Can Jeremy find the answers he seeks in time to save the ill, or will the only legacy he leaves be that of a madman? So yeah, definitely a dark story. So yeah, I'll kind of jump into what inspired Insanity, both the book and really the whole series. It started out with surviving the Aurora Theater shooting. That's what really sparked it, and I won't go into too many details of that particular night. That could be its whole episode. But I did survive that shooting that night. I was lucky to get out of there alive. But it's definitely a night that's lingered, something I still think about every single day. And I'm still suffering too, I'd say. Definitely some PTSD. I can't be in public places without always looking where's the nearest exit in case something starts happening. Or I'm always just scanning people, do they have backpacks? What are they doing in the corner over there? So yeah, it's just something that's had a lingering effect. I mean, I can't imagine you hearing that would think it's too fun to live in that way, but I guess I'm grateful. I'm just definitely more alert everywhere I go because of it. In case something does ever happen again, sadly I'll be prepared this time around, I guess you could say. So surviving that really sparked the idea for this book, and it also sparked, my fire again to start writing. I hadn't really written because I had written Followed Home back when I was 12 years old, and then just kind of put it away through high school, through college. And then surviving this tragedy really opened my eyes again, saying, what am I doing with my life? Why aren't I chasing my dreams? So I am grateful for, at least that side of it. I guess good things can come out of tragedy like that. So it sparked this whole thing, and here we are, 8 books later, I'm still doing it. So I guess you could say, in a sense, I'm grateful for that night, or rather, surviving that night. But yeah, definitely, something to keep in mind. The book is dedicated to people who have survived mass shootings, or anyone who's even been affected by it. Loved ones that were in one or survived one. So yeah, that was the inspiration behind the story. To kind of build off that, as writers, what we really try to do is get inside people's minds. What makes people tick? Why do they do the things they do? So having survived this and really following that whole story through the trial and all of that, learning all of the the real life information from that shooting, really just kept it brewing in my head. What was going on in the shooter's mind? What's going on in different survivors' minds? And I try to put myself into their shoes and just kind of play it out from there. And that's kind of the fun part of writing, is you get to play and imagine those different kind of things. So yeah, for this book, for this series, I took a different approach. I went into the mind of a shooter who, in his own right, thinks he is a mastermind behind this grand scheme, this grand experiment, where his goal is to essentially commit mass murder with the object of getting off on the insanity plea later on in the trial. That was something my wife, kind of tossed out during the Aurora trial, because the shooter was, he was a college student going for psychology, a really bright kid. So, why would someone that smart do something like that? Maybe it was all some sort of plan, some sort of sick game to him. So kind of piecing that together sparked all of that, and just a general curiosity to answer the question why. Why do people do what they do? How would people react in certain situations? So I really built the story out to be, here's this regular college kid. He's graduated college. He's going for his master's. He's juggling, a girlfriend and a job, and just all of it. And he gets approached to do this experiment on the mentally ill, and it just kind of all takes him down a dark path as everything in his life is crumbling around him. You could call it the perfect storm, I guess, that really triggers him to carry out this sick experiment. Now, as far as the experiences that my main character, Jeremy, has in the book, they're all pretty much based on my life. So if you've read it, you'll recall he opens up working for the Denver Bears baseball team. I worked for the Colorado Rockies all through college. That was my job, and in the book, he gets fired for buying tickets and scalping them online. And I know that so well because that's what happened to me. So that whole scene is very lifelike. You can guarantee that they really did bring in a Major League Baseball investigator, took me in a dark room and questioned me like I had murdered someone. It's kind of funny looking back now. But yeah. And then after that, my character Jeremy goes on to a brand new tech company. And that's what happened to me as well. In the book, he gets a phone call the day he got fired to come in for an interview at this new company that he had applied for months before. And that's what happened to me. Not about an hour after I got home from getting fired from the Rockies, my new company, who I will not name for particular reasons, called me that afternoon to come in for an interview. So yeah, things kind of just fell in place. It was, looking back on it, it sounds fake, but that is exactly how things played out. And even in the story, in that phase between jobs, he goes to Chicago with his girlfriend, and that's what me and my now wife did. We went on a trip right after I got fired to Chicago and ate all the deep dish pizza. Went to Bulls games. So yeah, it was a great time. Every time I look back on my transitions between jobs, it's always been like the best time of my life. So trying to just get that to be a permanent thing and write books all the time. And then back to the tech company, he's there for a while. He ends up getting fired just for really getting caught up in gossip with people on his team. And that's what happened to me. And I thought at the moment, maybe I'm overreacting, maybe I am in the wrong. But the more I look back on that whole situation, I still think it was just a load of crap. I don't know why I really got fired. The director there, who's also reflected in the book here as a director, just seemed to have it out for me after a certain point in time. I don't know why, but it was a real eye-opening experience to me as far as the corporate world. Ever since then, I'm very hesitant to trust anything or anyone within the corporate world. I'm really just learning everyone's out for their own agenda for themselves. So I just kind of like try to go in, just do my work and get out of there and come back home and write some books. So I don't have to deal with that in the future for too much longer. But yeah, as far as that tech company who I can't name, I'm not naming them because they ended up banning my book. So after I got fired from there is when Insanity came out later that year. So a bunch of my ex-coworkers came to the launch party. A bunch of them bought the book and read it. I guess it ended up on a desk in the offices there, and someone picked it up and flipped through the back, and the rest is history from there. They thought I was going to come shoot up the office or something. I've never even touched a gun in my life, so I'm not too sure what they think of me. It's really, really funny going back and looking on that day. That's the biggest non-promotion day of sales I've ever had for Insanity. Was when I found out they had a company-wide meeting about the book, putting everyone on high alert to watch out for dangerous 5'5" me. So yeah, just a little fun side story about that. And then just a final thing to kind of touch on in the book, Jeremy writes in a notebook. It is pretty much based on the notebook that the Aurora shooter kept. I researched it, I flipped through it, kind of copied it from there. And I have a physical copy of Jeremy's notebook, which I'll bring out one of these weeks to show you and flip through it maybe. But it is something you can download for free. There's links to it in the back of the ebooks for Insanity. So you can always download that and yeah, take a look for yourself because there's a lot more in it than the excerpts we see in the book. But that's all I really wanted to touch on tonight. Like I said, tonight was more of a high-level overview of the book, kind of what's to come ahead. So next week we'll be discussing the main characters in the book, kind of go into the inspiration behind them. And just final reminder, monthly contest. Congrats to our winners from February. March is a new month, so definitely drop those comments, both on this video and other posts within the group. And we'll start our new tally here for March. All right, everyone have a good rest of your Tuesday. I look forward to being back next week with some rum in hand, and I will see you then. Have a good night.